there is opportunity there. People are in that niche and are finding opportunity, then there is opportunity for you. What you have to do differently though is you need to stand out. So something that I'm seeing more and more commonly is that there is one single thing that is stopping you as a web designer from making any progress, and that is niching. Now, the thing that prompted me to make this video was I had a conversation the other day with one of my one-to-one students, and they weren't making any progress. Okay, they were still at the very start of their journey and they were not moving forward because they'd hit a roadblock. Okay, and they were stuck at choosing what niche to follow, to the point where this was stopping them from making any progress. Okay, now if you can relate to this, if you are struggling to find a niche and it's preventing you from making steps forward and being where you want to be in your web design business and having any sort of growth, then you're going to find this video useful. So what I will be doing in this video is sharing advice with you. Just as I share advice to my students within my web design business course, which will hopefully prevent you from being hung up on something that turns out to be very small and in the grand scheme quite insignificant when getting started with your web design business. So this video is going to be helping you choosing a niche and moving forward, and hopefully answering a few questions or concerns that you might have when it comes to choosing a niche. Now ultimately, there's only really three main things that you need to be able to answer yes to in order to choose a niche, in my opinion. Okay, and these three things, if you can find a nice balance between the three of them, then ultimately you're going to be going down the right path when looking into following a specific niche. Now, the first one of these three things is, do you find this niche interesting? Okay, you've ultimately, in my opinion, got to be interested in the sector that you're going after, or at least have maybe some experience working in it before. Okay, you have to find it interesting, especially if you're going to be putting a lot of effort into it and a lot of time. You're going to be spending a lot of time on those types of projects, speaking to the types of people that exist within that sector. Okay, you're gonna wanna have passion for it yourself. You need to have some sort of interest in it. The second thing that you need to be able to answer yes to is, does this industry have money? Okay, it needs to have the money, or at least the type of money that you wanna be charging for your services. It is no good going after a niche that doesn't typically have a lot of money, and I'm talking maybe like specifically charities, startups. Those typically don't have large budgets. There are exceptions when they have funding and things like that, but typically they tend to have less money than larger businesses, say accountancy firms, law firms, real estate agents. Okay, now I know they're very cliche, but they're just a few examples. So you do need to make sure that the niche has money. Okay, so that was the second thing. The third thing that you need to make sure that this niche has, you can answer yes to when looking at that niche. Is there a large number of this type of business that exists around the world? Okay, if there's not many of them, okay, then you might find yourself either in a very saturated market, or you might find yourself running out of lead generation opportunities very, very quickly. Okay, if there's not a large amount of businesses to approach within that niche, okay, you might run out of steam quicker than going after a niche that has lots of businesses available in that sector. Because you need to find a balance between those three things. Are you interested in it? Does it have the money in order to afford your services? And is there enough of that type of business that exists around the world for you to really spend a long time reaching out to all of those businesses? So if you can find that balance, okay, and you can understand what that type of sector looks like, then you're going to be going down the right direction. Now, if you're still not sure what you're interested in, what I do typically recommend is you just have a think about what you are generally interested in. What do you do in your spare time? What do you find yourself reading or researching or enjoy doing? Okay, make a list of those and see if you can find a sector or industry that closely aligns with them. That's certainly a very, very good starting point. Then you have to go as far to do the rest of your research to understand how many types of businesses exist within that space and what is the average revenue for those types of businesses. I do recommend that you start with Google to find that information. If things are looking good, then you can proceed and test out that niche. You can test out more than one niche as well if you want, okay? You don't have to, at the early stages, go all in a specific niche. You can choose 3 different ones. That's something that I did myself, and it's certainly something that I recommend all of the students within my web design program do as well. Test the water, figure out what you do like, what interests you, what you enjoy doing, and what you can get results for. You know, for me, in the early stages, I thought that I would like working with gyms because I like going to the gym and I enjoyed fitness. but ultimately I really didn't like working with other gym business owners. Okay, so that niche didn't work for me, but I would have never have known if I didn't test it. So that's the point here, is to test it. There has to be a level of or a process of market research. Again, by market research, I mean physically having conversations with the businesses that exist within the niche that you are testing or looking to go after. Choose a niche, start moving forward, have those conversations, and do your market research. Okay, once you have started having conversations, you'll quickly realize whether this niche is a good fit, whether it generally interests you, whether they actually have money to afford your services, or whether there is enough of these businesses that exist, and again, do they need your services? Now, something else I want to touch on is niche saturation. Okay, I hear this all the time. I see it across YouTube, I hear it in my Facebook group, and certainly within my paid community. Is this niche saturated? And I just want to say that I don't generally believe that any niche is saturated. Okay, if anything, if a niche is saturated, that is a good thing, because it's telling you that there is opportunity there. Okay, if people are in that niche and they're finding opportunity, then there is opportunity for you. Okay, what you have to do differently though is you need to stand out. Okay, and that can be quite tricky. If you don't know how to stand out, then you are going to essentially struggle in what we call a saturated niche market. Okay, the one way that I recommend that you stand out is particularly with your approach, with your outreach approach, and what I suggest is using Loom. Okay, now Loom's been around for a while now, and I know a lot of people are using it, but still you can use it to stand out. The amount of students that are still using Loom and finding success and hearing positive results, like, man, I get hit by email a load of times every single day, but it was your video that made me watch it, and actually that's what made me respond. Okay, I even still hear that myself when I send the odd Loom video out too. Okay, so Loom is a very, very good tool to allow you to stand out, because there's still a lot of people out there that just don't have the guts to get on screen, to record their screen, to talk, things like that. There's a lot of people that are not utilizing that, so there is still an opportunity, despite a lot of people doing it, for you to be able to implement that into your business and stand out. The other way that you can stand out is your offer. Okay, now I'm not going to go into too much detail about offers in this video, but essentially if you can pull together an attractive offer, if you can figure out what it is that your niche wants and what it is that they need, and you can build a service and a product around that, you are going to stand out. You're going to dominate that niche that a lot of people are considering saturated. It is only saturated if you are in that niche offering exactly the same thing as everybody else. Okay, so you need to find a way to stand out with your approach, with your outreach, and with your service offering. That's my thoughts on, is niching or is a specific niche saturated? I generally don't believe it is, and if you consider a niche saturated because there's a lot of people in that space, then do take that as a good thing. Okay, that's the aim of this video. I want you to feel like you don't need to stop. You don't need to stop and not make any progress because you can't figure out what niche to choose. You've got the tools here. You've been given some guidance on how you can figure out what niche that you could potentially go after, and then start moving forward, doing that market research, try and get conversations in the diary, have those conversations with prospects, and then generally just figure out whether that niche is good for you. When you start winning work as well, you'll quickly find what you enjoy working in, or what you're able to get the best results in, or maybe you have a handful of websites or clients that you've serviced within a specific sector as well, and you can maybe start doubling down and looking to go all in a specific direction within one single niche as well. So start off looking at multiple niches, figure out what you enjoy, figure out what's working for you, what's working for your business, and what's working for your client in terms of being able to generate results. And then when you figure that out, you can then start to double down and go all in a single niche if you wish. Now, if you found this valuable, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. The end screen is coming up now with more videos for you to go and check out that I know that you're going to find really, really valuable. So that's it from me. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.